Fees are not going.
Business Unity South Africa says it will urgently engage with the Minister of Electricity to see what his thinking is on dealing with the short-term load shedding crisis and the medium-term energy crisis. The business body cautions that Ramokgopa will have a significant challenge in coordinating roles between his department and that of the Minister of Resources and Energy, and how he utilizes the powers accorded to him under the state of disaster. Energy analyst Kgosientsho says there are now more than 3 ministers involved in Eskom, which complicates its governance structures.
And now it's actually 5 ministers, because there's the Minister of Finance, who's involved very much with the money matters around the electricity and Eskom and its debt, etc. And we have the Minister of Cogta, who's involved with the municipal electricity sector. So we had a very complex governance structure before, and with these 4 ministers. And we now have 5 ministers. So a complex governance structure, I think, has become more complicated. And it would be complicated in the best of circumstances, but we're actually in one of the worst of circumstances. So it is going to be very, very challenging. And if all these ministers were on the same page, working with a common purpose and a common vision, with a mindset of solving this problem together. In other words, taking a big problem, breaking it down into different parts, each minister having its area of responsibility to deal with, but all on the same page and working for a common purpose. I would think, this is one way of tackling the problem. Break it down into chunks that are manageable.
What needs to happen now is for Dr. Ramokgopa to hit the ground running, because remember that we had the energy plan, the president's energy plan announced in July last year.
Right.
And ever since then, work has been done, but it's been very slow.
Although President Ramaphosa is committed to eventually reducing the size of his cabinet, analysts say the bloated cabinet is troubling.
Peron has always been the biggest problem for many presidents in the country. They have actually, instead of shrinking the size of the cabinet, they've increased it, which is quite problematic, because it increases the government wage bill, which obviously we saw in the recent budget that is now gone about 700 billion rands. But I think that the president did mention that he's looking at reducing the size of the cabinet. And I'm thinking that most probably he's looking at doing that post the elections in 2024. Should he be elected back as president? I believe that he's going to use that opportunity maybe to create a whole new cabinet that might have more younger people. And this is why he didn't tamper probably with the more senior members of this ministerial list.
The Minerals Council says it looks forward to working with Ramokgopa to help resolve South Africa's electricity crisis. NWU Business School economist Professor Raymond Parsons says the long-awaited decision will be judged by the outcomes achieved in the period ahead. Business Leadership South Africa says it hopes the cabinet will provide fresh impetus to current structural reforms that are underway. BLSA says they are comforted that the Minister of Electricity is someone that is open to working with the private sector.
He understands the importance of leveraging the skills, the resources, the knowledge that exists in the private sector. He understands that government will only be able to turn the corner if there is meaningful partnership and collaboration between government and the private sector. So I think from that perspective, I have no doubt that he's actually going to do everything in his power to deliver on his mandate.
BLSA remains concerned, though, that some underperforming ministries remain unchanged. It says this new team has an important role to play in addressing the many ills that are plaguing South Africa and are demanding high standards from them. Diabo Seto, SABC News, Johannesburg.